Medicine's back with me this morning from Anteris. Wayne, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
Good to be speaking, Wayne. Look, you've recently been at the TCT, a big conference in Boston. Tell us a bit about the meeting.
Yeah, so TCT is the biggest medical congress in the valve space. It stands for transcatheter therapies of all kinds, but predominantly a lot of TAVR and surgical valve as well being discussed. Pre-COVID, they would get 11,000 delegates to that meeting. I think we had about 8,500 or something at this last meeting. So it's huge. Obviously attended by clinicians, academics, scientists, industry, CEOs. I saw all the CEOs of the major companies there. And of course, analysts and bankers as well, who I met many on the sidelines. So quite a lot of different players in the industry come to that meeting, all looking to see, particularly newer companies like Anteris, what we're up there talking about, who's validating us clinically, who's supporting the company from a science point of view. And so very, very, very useful meeting for us.
You presented the 30-day follow-up data at the meeting, but I understand you also had some even bigger news that you presented. Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, so we really went into TCT with great support, from the CRF organization, which is headed by Dr. Marty Leon, who runs TCT, to present what would be and what was widely anticipated as the details to our 30-day follow-up of the second cohort and the total of our 13 patients so far. That in itself would be big news, and it was described by some of the doctors as stunning results. I heard that many, many times. However, we had done another study with 22 patients along the way, very, very late, just within the last month. Some physicians, echocardiographers who are top of their game in the world for this kind of stuff, had gotten curious about our results and why they look so incredibly different relative to what's available in the valve space. And in this particular study, there were several, but in this particular study that really got a lot of attention, they compared the forward flow rates and flow reversal rates of our valve to a human valve, to our major competitors being the SAPIEN valve and the Evolut valve, and two of the surgical valves. And the findings were very interesting. So they used a 2D MRI process where you can really see this, of course, in patients, the difference. And it turns out that the flow rates in the DurAVR valve were similar or the same as a normal human valve in the patient. It also turns out that they were significantly better than the SAPIEN, than the Evolut valve as well, and then put beyond reasonable doubt. What was interesting in that study also is that the SAPIEN valve in particular was shown to have worse flow rates than a diseased valve before it had a valve replacement. So even the sick valve had better flow rates than when you put a SAPIEN in. So all of that was very interesting. A lot more work to do there, but it's the first time this has ever been shown, by the way, that a aortic valve replacement showed the same dynamics and flow rates as a normal native valve. And also the first time that TAVR has ever beaten a surgical valve. The surgical valves will always be a little bit better. You get your hand inside the chest and you can place that as opposed to a catheter. So these are not just incremental, interesting pieces of points of scientific data. This is huge. So much so that right up to the top of the tree in this space, we had 4 or 5 podium presentations. We had a big roundtable discussion on this valve and its science in particular with the biggest names in the world, which will go live soon on our website. But there's, of course, more work to do. We're going to duplicate this and create more interest. But I think it's really got the valve world talking because people hadn't studied this before. And there are good reasons why they hadn't studied it, because the results were never going to be great until now. And the physicians now are all over this. So it was exciting. I don't think I've seen a level of enthusiasm in my career around scientific data as what I saw with the physicians at this conference. And that's not an exaggeration. I mean, people were just knocked over by it. So I think it really sets the ball in motion for where this valve will be. One of the brightest names in this space globally had said this is a valve for all patients. I don't think it gets any better than that. This person is particularly skeptical at times and wants to be really proven. So looking at this data and hearing those kind of comments from physicians who are, top of their game in the world, I think is just very, very encouraging. Not only for patients, for shareholders, but also for patients. We've really got a product that does improve this disease beyond what's currently available.
Well, just on that, these human-like characteristics, what does it mean for patients?
Right. So what we've learned because of DurAVR, what the medical fraternity is learning is prior to DurAVR, a valve was 3 pieces of tissue. We came along, took a very different approach, and made a human-like valve. And as a result, we're getting these native human-like results. But what we're also learning is it's not enough for a valve to open and close, which is basically what we had before. When you look at everything that's happening around the valve, left ventricular hypertrophy, the function of the vessels, the condition of the vessels, all of these add up to a broader impact on the disease. So simply having a valve that opens and closes is not enough. We now know that flow, for example, creates damage downstream. We now know that better flow dynamics could improve remodeling of the left ventricle, for example, which is really important in this disease. So what's coming out, and that's why they're studying all this, is the more human-like the valve, the better it's going to be. Not only in the short term, we're getting, of course, superior hemodynamics to anything, but also in the longer term. We know about durability with this valve. We know about ADAPT. We're in the top 3 tissue companies in the world with regards to the amount of patients. We've got 35,000 patients with ADAPT inside. We are at the top of the tree for that stuff. When we apply that material to a valve that is single piece, that is human-like, and is giving all these downstream indicators as well as just the hemodynamics the minute the patient gets off the table, we've got something that's really, it has been said by doctors now, has shifted the research and the understanding of the valve space significantly forward. We're leading the pack on this science at the moment.
Well, what's the plan, Wayne, as far as the remainder of 2022? What's in store for Anteris?
Right. So, yeah, for sure, we're not going to pack up and go home yet. We've got a couple of months of the year. I mean, I feel like we've achieved so much this year. I say that obviously tongue in cheek. When you think about how we started this year, late November, first group of patients, now we're at 13. Now the science is just breaking out everywhere on this product. We are awaiting an FDA approval on our EFS study. I fully anticipate to get that, in the window between now and the end of the year. And we will attend London Valve, I think, which is the most important valve meeting in Europe and also very big. London Valve, I think we will certainly see more on the podium around this data that I'm just talking about now. We are doing some more work right now. I mean, those are the 2 big ones, but they're big enough. So there's a lot going on. Of course, the markets are challenging right now, and I think we're getting through that. But I feel almost impenetrable with the data that we're producing at this point.
Well, given the challenging markets, Wayne, what do you make of the share price performance year to date?
Look, we're up 75%. Am I happy with that? Of course not. But in a bear market, I'll take it. When I look at the relative value of the company and the market cap today, it does not reflect the value of this product and what it's worth when it comes to market, or what it's even worth today. Our net present value, we've done 6 times over and comes out with the same number, about 850 to 900, somewhere in that range. And that's a very conservative NPV, and that's even before this data last week. Now, if I look at our competitors, I take Edwards, for example, for their year to date, where we're up 75%, they are down 35%. And that's a company, obviously, that makes profit, that sells product, that has revenue. So in context, the medtech space has taken a hit. We have our good days and our bad days, of course, but overall, I'm where we are today, year to date, 75% in this environment. It's not terrible.
Good to catch up this morning. Wayne, thanks very much.
Thanks for your time, Andrew. Always appreciate it.